If you're looking for a streamer that's got a ton of great movement, a great bait fish profile, and can flat out catch fish, this is the one you need to have in the box. What's up, y'all? It's Knox. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am tying up Eric Hurst's Agent Scully. This is one of my favorite streamers that I've been tying up recently. It really produces fish, and today I'm going to walk you through the materials you need to tie it, how I tie it up, and show you that finished product. Let's get into it. So, in the vise, I have a size 4 hook. I'm tying with some olive 210 denier thread. So, to get this thing started, get the thread on and work it back to that point in the hook shank. Our first material is going to be Flashabou. I'm just using standard silver. Get, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 strands of that. And we will just tie that in right here on the back. Give it a few wraps, make sure it's nice and secure, and then we're just gonna simply capture all of that and tie it in. Now, from a length standpoint, it can be personal preference, but I like to keep my trail tail about as long as the Flashabou, so for me, a good marker is where I want this trail hook to sit when I have the lead hook in the vise. So I'll trim that there, and that will be the flash on our back. Our next item will be olive zonker strips. So we'll get ourselves a strip here, and then what I like to do is, like I said, I like the Flashabou to be about as long as the tail. I'll separate a piece, try to get it as close to hair-free as possible before I start making some securing wraps, just to get it in place. Pull that out, and then we're going to want that strip to go the full length of the hook shank. So I will strip back some hair up here right toward the eye of the hook, and that's where I will make my cut. Boom. So now that we've got that cut, I'm going to clear out the hair a little bit more just so I can get some better securing wraps in. Make sure that's nice and tight, and then we'll bring that thread in front of that strip. For flash here, I'm using some baitfish olive emulator. This is nice and long. It allows me to trim the underside to the size I want. So what I found with chenille is it can work just as well, but this is a lot at the beginning, but I feel like it builds a body nice and allows you to trim a little bit more. It's a little more forgiving, I would say. So we will tie that in right at the base where our zonker strip is. Work our thread up all the way to the front of the hook shank. I like to throw a little hitch in here just to keep it from unraveling as I rotate. Perks of a rotary vise here. Slap that thread in, and we're going to take some wraps, and we are going to start building up a little bit of a torso and some of that underbelly that is going to be nice and flashy and attractive. So take some nice tight wraps as we're going. We're pulling that flash backwards. And we're just gonna work our way up to the eye of the hook here. So we'll get up to the eye of the hook there. Take our thread. We're gonna make some securing wraps. Capture that material. Boom. Alright, make that cut right there. Free that up. Now, got kind of a mess here, and so what I like to do is take my brush and just brush it straight down on both sides. Freeze it up, keeps that bulk underneath, and then what we'll do is take the zonker strip, push it up toward the eye of the hook, and capture it. And build that up just to make sure that zonker strip's nice and captured. And then we will whip finish, and that will be the end of the back side of this fly. So we got our whip finish. What I like to do is try to trim this in a way that's somewhat natural. So there you have your back part of the fly. So hit that little head cement, something just to keep that nose nice and together. We'll set that down. Then we have a size 2 hook going in. This will be our front hook, obviously. Get our thread started here. You want to leave a decent bit of room up front in front of your dumbbell eyes. So that's a good spot for me. I like my eyes right about there. For eyes, we're using some yellow dumbbell eyes in a size medium. So get your 3 wraps on there, let them rotate underneath. Nice and tied in, and then we will work our way back to the bend and the hook. Our next material is going to be some sinews intruder wire. This is size 6 or larger, I believe. This will just be our connector for our back fly to our front fly. So cut myself off a piece, maybe 3 inches long. Alright, so we've worked our way back to the back of the hook. What we'll do now is take our wire, run it through the eye of our trail hook. Once you get that through, what I like to do is I will even them out a little bit. Try to get them as even as possible, and then give it a little pinch. And that'll help kind of seat that fly where it needs to be. Our next material we will be using is Hairline 3D beads in color cream. I like to use 2 on flies this size, so we'll get 2 of those, feed them onto the wire in front of the hook eye on our trail hook. Awesome. And this will help just shore things up. get a couple securing wraps on there, and that allows you to adjust your length. I like it to be right at the bend in the hook. I feel like that still gives me good movement, but also plenty of security. So I will work my wraps back a little bit. Awesome. And then we will come back up. And you want to keep these wires as parallel as possible. And I have found it's pretty easy just to keep them on top of the hook shank. Get those tied in, and then we'll work our way back to the bend in the hook. All right, at the bend in the hook, what we want to do is create a cover for this mid section. To do that, we are going to take another clump of Flashabou. If you have your scraps from your first one, those are always great to kind of reuse here. I don't know where mine went, probably threw them away already. So what I will do is take about 4 or 5 strands, tie them in same way we did earlier. So a securing wrap, get those in, give me 1 or 2, and then fold them back. Get those secured in on the sides, and then I usually try to trim them right at the start of the back hook. So I will come in here with my scissors, and it's always easier to cut shorter again. So leave yourself a little room on the first cut. You can always cut more off, you cannot add more. So we'll get that flash trimmed, and that'll bring us to our next material, which is going to be olive and white marabou. For this, you can use crappier feathers. You don't need the best of the best. What I like to do is actually just pull the plumes off the stem and tie them in rather than tying in the stem. And so this is just an extra layer of, I guess you could say, camouflage. It's really just there to help build some body and hide that connecting point. And so I'll get those tied in and trim off this little stuff that I don't want. And then we will also tie in a clump of white. Awesome. So we got those tied in. Now we will repeat the process for the start of the fly. We'll get our zonker strip. I like the end of this strip to kind of coincide with the start of the last one. So as you can see here, the point is kind of right toward the front of that last fly. So I will come in here. Clean out a spot for that line to kind of lock it in. A couple securing wraps. Awesome. And then we will want to trim our rabbit strip right at the back side of these dumbbell eyes. So I'll come in here, give it a trim. Like always, it's a little easier to cut off if you leave more than you need. You can't add it, so just be thinking about that as you're making those cuts. And then we'll have a couple securing wraps there. We'll bring our line back in front of that strip. We will go back to our baitfish UV emulator and we will get that tied in. What I like to do is just trim a little section off. Makes it a little easier, I don't know if you can see that, to tie in when there is a little bit of fabric like that versus the threads themselves. So get that tied in there, and then work our thread back up in front of the eyes there. Nice tight wraps. It's not going to be as much up here. Get right up to the base of those eyes. Then we'll do some securing wraps. Capture that thread. Trim that off. Get that out the way. Grab my brush again. And we're gonna brush that straight down. Make sure that's nice and secure. We got it brushed down a good bit. We will bring our Zocker strip back over and secure it in place. Awesome. So now, same process as earlier. I'm going to capture all of that and give it a nice trim. And this brings us to our next material, olive bucktail. So we'll just be grabbing a small piece here, nothing crazy. This is just to kind of build up the head. And so maybe say a pencil width. So we'll get that tied in, come in here and trim this hair off as best we can. Pull it back. Boom. Okay. Sometimes I like to do a few figure 8 wraps on that just to lock that bucktail in. So now we'll come to our last two materials. I lied. I said it was our last two materials. It's our last three. So then we'll put in some micro barred legs. I'm using the ones from Fully Mill. These are in root beer barred black. So I'll only get a couple of these. Nothing wild. Grab myself two here. And I like to attach them, since we've built so much of a head up on the underside. So I'll just capture them, position them myself on the underside, try to keep them even, and then pinch and tie them in. There's plenty of ways to tie in rubber legs. I've found that works for me. So if you have another way you like to do it, leave it in the comments. I'm always looking for more efficient, better ways to tie up these flies. So I'm gonna trim these just a tad, just to get rid of this joint in where they're kind of welded together. Got our legs there. Awesome. So now we'll come to our last material. Here we've got our white laser dub and our sculpin olive laser dub. Been loving this material lately. What I like to do is start from the bottom. So flip that fly upside down. If you don't have a rotary vise, if you do, just rotate your vise. And we'll start pulling and stacking this wool hair, or this laser dub rather. And I like these to be long initially. I don't love having small heads. And so that's just a personal preference for me. I'll stack and pull these until I feel like I've got a nice, decently long clump, as you can see here. And what I'll do is get this wrap, fold it over my thread, and then capture it. And so that allows you to position it right where you need it to be. And then we'll take a couple securing wraps. I like to pull on it, get it kind of right where I want it. And then we'll move to the top. For sizes, I just eyeball it. I know there's probably a rule of thumb for laser dub heads of how much material on the top versus bottom. I would like my top to be a little bit thicker than the bottom, so just keep that in mind as you're making these little stacks. But at the end of the day, it really is all personal preference. I think they'll all catch fish. It's just whether or not they'll catch fish or not. So, secure that in. Get a nice tight pull. And then work your thread back in front. So there's the back side of the body. I'll move in front of the dumbbell eyes for this next two clumps, and we are almost done. So same thing, I'll start on the bottom. Get a couple clumps of this white. There's something orange in that. Fold it over our thread, and then get it right up on those eyes as best we can. Put that in there, perfect. Nice and tight. Keep it from rolling if you can. And then we will come back in with another stack of sculpin olive on top. And then capture in front. So I have a little more hook left than I'd like, so I am going to add another stack of each. Separate these out, capture it in front of it, and build up a little bit of a thread down. Last and final step, whip finish. Try not to capture your laser dub. And then from there, trim to your heart's desire. The Agent Scully. Awesome, thank y'all for watching. Hopefully you found that helpful. That's a pattern I've recently taught myself how to tie. I've been having a ton of fun tying it up. If you've got any questions, just leave them down in the comments. I'm not a professional tier by any means, but I can get by, and I love sharing that passion with other people. So if you've got any questions in relation to the flies I tie, how I tie them, leave a comment below. And if there's a pattern you'd like to see me learn, I'm doing a challenge over on Instagram and TikTok, tying a new pattern every single week until I hit 10K on TikTok. I'm over 7,500, and 2K on Instagram. I'm sitting at like 1,300. So would love the support over there as well. Until next time.